your girl, Jersey Love Steph, and if you're out there, I just want to welcome you in. As I was making a message yesterday, decisions are hard. I was thinking, everything that we go through, Jesus went through 10 times worse so we could go through the Bible. But what I want to address right now is some people are like Judas, and we want to see the best in people, but there comes a line that people draw, maybe it's even our own family, that it's just, we have to let them go because they're bad for us and they don't have any good interest for us. Hey Barry, how are you? Good morning. Happy Thursday. I can't believe today's the 11th already. Can you believe that? I don't know what time it is by you. It's 10:30. I just stopped. I only have two more stops right now. But I hope wherever you're at, Barry, that you're doing good. I know you've been my friend Barry. A lot of people on my channel know you, Barry, because we're connected to a lot of people. But Barry is very supportive. Not only that, I can't always get to your channel, so I'm sorry, but I try to watch your content. But he's been through a lot this year, Barry. You've been through a lot between your brother and your father. I don't know. I know your heart has to be like in a million pieces. Only time can heal this. I lost my dad 2 years ago, so I know. But it's just time, and it just takes time. But still, the only thing that kind of helped was I got to say goodbye to my father. And then, the lessons that he taught me is beautiful lessons. I actually got to meet my dad, and he poured into me. Some people don't get this, right? But still, this year I started to think about him. So I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart. My heart goes out to you. Oh. So I wanted to share this because as we go in our life and everything, the Bible is a living word, okay? So maybe you're dealing with somebody and you know that they're toxic for you, but it's really hard to kind of, because they've walked with you all this time and now you see their true character for how they really treat you, or they really have done something terrible to you, okay? People have tried to betray me before, and sometimes people retaliate on us when we're doing the right thing. People retaliate against us. You see this on the news and stuff. People retaliate and they're vicious, okay? So some people can be right alongside of us, but it could be a snake right there. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing. This is what Jesus was talking about. He still loved Judas, but he disowned him as a disciple, basically. He did not have to disown Jesus because the chief priests were already going to kill Jesus because of his teachings and everything. Hey, good morning, Junior. How are you? So they were already going to kill Jesus. Jesus came here to go to the cross. That was his mission. But Judas, even though he was a disciple, he ate with Jesus. He broke bread with Jesus. He knew the teachings from Jesus. He was walking with God. He betrayed him for 30 pieces of silver, okay? So you see this even sometimes in families. People come up with plots because their family has life insurance, and it's the devil's, they act like a devil, okay? And even like people talking behind their back, even like it hurts. Like if my spouse, he knows things about me that nobody does, okay? Only God knows. So if he was to sit there and blast all my business to everybody, what do you think I would think of that? I would think that he was a terrible person. You know, there's a time and place for everything, but there's certain things that you tell certain people, not like if it's against the law or something like this. Obviously, you're going to have to tell somebody, but if you were to confide in somebody about something that really you were going through that was very personal, but these people took it and took your most worst moment that you went through and then went behind your back and blasted on a platform or went around and told your business to everybody, that's a terrible person. You know, some people just can't keep their mouth closed. And if it's something, it's not meant for this platform. Everything that you have, because you don't know the Judas that is sitting on the other thing, and every single word that I speak on here can be used against me one day. You don't know where your life will go one day. So it's not that we don't make mistakes, but some things are just a closed book. That's it. So we say goodbye to it. Hey, good morning, Garuma. Gurmurthy Arki. That's a long name. Good morning. So, in this season, the most important thing, so it could even be like some people want to sit so close to you because of your position. So, let's say you were, and it kind of, some people give us money on the channel. Sometimes people have their own motives, so they're just promoted, and you can't ever speak freely about what you want to speak. That's why I'm kind of leery about actually putting on, like, if somebody was to give me super chats, because maybe if I offend them with one of the messages I bring, they try to destroy my whole channel or something. That's why I don't want anybody to have a hand over my channel. You know what I'm saying? Because people, when they start to put in that, they think that because they did that, they can control you. This is what people think with money sometimes. Some people know that the kingdom of God needs money to go, but I have no ministry or anything. I'm just on a channel sharing my life, okay? So, anyways, what I want to say is, like, as we get older, even like young children, sometimes you don't see it because our eyes are, we want to see the best in people, and that's why a lot of times people try to help. They wind up in these relationships that are a mess because they're trying to help the other person. But then it comes to a point where that person is destroying the other person's life, and an honest friend is going to tell them, hey, listen, this person is trying to destroy your life. They're going behind your back, they're cheating on you, and it hurts. It hurts. Betrayal hurts, right? So, whatever situation you're in, maybe you've been working with somebody and maybe you put them in charge of taking care of your animals or something, and you find out that they are actually like hurting your animals, like they're not feeding them like they're supposed to, like they tell you you're paying them to do a job, and you find out that they're mismanaging what you have entrusted them with. Well, that's like Judas. So if we're ever put in a position of something, we're supposed to honor the person that we work for. We're supposed to really do the best that we can. If we have a question, ask them. But when somebody entrusts you in something, they're trusting you. They didn't give you that job just so you can, do whatever you want. No, they gave you that job, or that they confided in you because they trusted you. But a lot of times, some people can't be trusted. You know, Junior, I'm not the judge. You have to apologize to people. Really come with a repentant heart. If you've done something wrong to somebody, the best thing to do is to apologize. But not everybody reconciles with the person that wronged them, because sometimes we just went over that line. But just give them, offer an apology at least. We have to, some people never acknowledge that they ever did anything wrong, and that's an issue too. I hate that, because we're not always right. I'm not always right, and you're not always right. So we have to we can agree to disagree, but when I can tell you exactly what it is, and I'm showing you fact for fact, and the people are still ignoring, that's an issue. You know, and I can't really have a relationship with, like, maybe from a distance, but if you really truly see the facts of something going on, and you don't care that other people are getting hurt or their whole entire future or right now is getting destroyed, I'm not going to be friends with you, okay? We can be acquaintances, and I'll try to encourage you, but I'm not going to participate in that kind of activity because it's wrong. The Bible is for when we go to church and outside of church. I'm a child of God, and I'm following Jesus. So if I say I'm following Jesus, He gives us morality to live by and commands. So you don't have to believe in Jesus, but I'm going to treat you as Jesus would. But He did draw a line with Judas. So I'm just going to read this to you, okay? So this was the plot against Jesus. Okay. So this was, I believe, after his Sermon on the Mount. Let me just Let me go back here real quick. Okay. So when Jesus had finished all these things, let me just go to Matthew 25 because I want to see what he was saying. I'm not sure if it was the Sermon on the Mount. A lot of people don't want to hear the truth. They want to just cover up really what is the truth and to stand on the right side. A lot of people don't. They stand with people that are, they stand with people who are really hurting other people, and therefore, like, they overlook. They're so set on their agenda that they just, their hearts are hardened and they don't look past certain things. I don't know how to say it. I don't think my words are coming out right now, but some people, maybe they're my friends now, but if my channel ever, let's say it grows really big, people might despise me. But I have put a lot into my channel and I can help other people. That's the thing, we can help each other. But you're going to have to put like I put in a lot of work, you know. Sometimes people don't. Their channel just grows. So, you know, we don't know what it is, okay? Um, okay, so this is the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Oh, this is when Jesus was telling about the sheep and the goats, because Jesus, when he comes back, he's going to separate the sheep from the goats. And he says, not everyone that calls him Lord, Lord, you know, did we not prophesy in your name will enter the kingdom of heaven, but those who do my Father's will. And the Father's will is to believe in him who sent Jesus. Okay, sometimes it takes a little while, but the main thing is God. But it really has to do with our heart, how we treated other people, because that's all what Jesus was teaching us, how to love people and how to love our neighbor and God. God is first, okay? So this is after he was done saying that they thought that just because they were seeds of Abraham that they were going to enter, but their hearts were wicked. Some people's hearts are very wicked. Even us, when we say we're following Jesus, we could be full of hatred, and that's really from the enemy. It's where demons hang around. Anger and hatred is from any really, there's a kind of hatred, like a righteous anger, but hatred comes from the devil, okay? Hatred, we're not supposed to hate anybody, okay? We're supposed to really have righteous anger and to really reject what is unrighteous and people that are seriously hurting other people, of course, or abusing people, okay? Yes, but always try to get them to turn. The whole thing is to get them to turn, but it's up to that person. But Jesus can change their heart, but it's getting in the Word of God. We have to abide in Jesus and he will change your hearts. So after Jesus had finished all these sayings, okay, so this is in Matthew 26. When Jesus had finished all these sayings, he said to his disciples, he knew his hour was coming. You know that after 2 days the Passover is coming, and the Son of Man will be delivered up to be crucified. Now crucified, Jesus grew up with seeing crucifixion. It was Roman torture. It was the most excruciating way to go to die, okay? It wasn't a quick death. It was spears going right through your arms and through your legs, and he was an innocent man. But he knew he was going to be crucified. Then the chief priests and the elders of the people gathered in the palace of the high priest, whose name was Caiaphas, and plotted together. Then the chief priests, okay, so these were Jewish people, gathered with, then the chief priests and elders of the people gathered in the palace of the high priest, whose name was Caiaphas. So I guess Caiaphas was the high priest, okay? And plotted together in order to arrest Jesus by stealth and kill him. They were going to kill him. This was the plot against Jesus. But they said, not during the feast, lest there be an uproar among the people. Now when Jesus was at Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, now this was after Jesus had cleansed the leper of his leprosy. Now Jesus sat with him. Woman came up to him with an alabaster flask of very expensive ointment, and she poured it on his head as he reclined at the table. And when the disciples saw it, they were indignant, saying, why this waste? His own disciples, after Jesus had walked on water, calmed the water, drove out demons, calmed them down, gave them food from heaven, raised Lazarus from the dead, healed leprosy, raised the dead girl, all this. And they said, why this waste? Why this waste? This is what his own disciples are saying. This is like somebody who has poured their life into us and then we don't even acknowledge them or anything. How do you think that they feel? But this was Jesus. So then this is what Judas says. For this could have been sold for a large sum and given to the poor. But Jesus, aware of this, said to him, why do you trouble this woman? For she has done a beautiful thing to me. For you always have the poor with you, but you will not always have me. In pouring this ointment on my body, she has done it to prepare me for burial. Truly I say, wherever this gospel is proclaimed in the whole world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her. And then one of the 12, whose name was Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests. So now Judas, his betrayer, he went to the chief priests and said, what will you give me if I deliver him over to you? And they paid him 30 pieces of silver. That's the price of a slave. 30 pieces of silver was the price of a slave, okay? It was a month's wages. This is what his own disciple did to him. And that from that moment, he saw an opportunity to betray him. So think about one of your supposedly best friends or one of your family now is plotting something against you. So there's something. You can always sense when somebody's keeping something. Most of the time, they're hiding something, okay? So there's no way he could be honest. And Jesus was God. He's God walking this earth. So he knew exactly what's in his heart. Now on the first day of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus saying, where will you have us prepare for you to eat the Passover? He said, go into the city to a certain man and say to him, the teacher says, my time is at hand, and I will keep the Passover at your house with my disciples. And I will keep the Passover at your house with my disciples. And the disciples did as Jesus had directed them, and they prepared the Passover. Okay. When it was evening, he reclined at the table with the 12, and as they were eating, he said, truly I say to you, one of you will betray me. And they were very sorrowful and began to say to him one after another, is it I, Lord? He answered, he who has dipped his hand in a dish with me will betray me. The Son of Man goes as it is written of him, but woe to that man whom the Son of Man has betrayed. It would have been better for that man if he had not been born. Basically, he was telling him he was going to go to hell. Judas, who would betray him, answered, is it I, Rabbi? He said to him, you have said so. He said, you have said so. Now as they were eating, Jesus took bread, and after blessing it, broke it and gave it to his disciples and said, take, eat, this is my body. He took a cup and he gave thanks, and he gave it to them, saying, drink of it, all of you, for this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. I tell you, I will not drink again of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. And when they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. Then Jesus said to them, you all fall away because of me this night, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I'm raised up, I will go before you to Galilee. He answered him, though they all fall away, because you will never fall away. Jesus said to him, truly I tell you, this very night before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. Peter said to him, even if I must die with you, I will not deny you. And all the disciples said the same. Then Jesus went with them to the place called Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, sit here while I go over there and pray. So Jesus knew that Judas was going to betray him. Judas did not have to betray Jesus. The chief priests and the elders were already plotting to kill Jesus. But so what I'm saying is, sometimes in our life, relationships are not good for us, but we don't always see it until after. But maybe somebody comes to you and tells you what is going on. Don't try to attack that person if they're giving you information. If 2 or 3 people come and they give you information, find out about it. But sometimes people try to destroy relationships. So that's what I'm saying is, like, sometimes you just can't like sometimes people, he's sharing meals with you and everything. He was walking with Jesus for 3 years, and Jesus was blessing him at that time. But it's all for the money, all because Satan entered his heart. He sold Jesus. He sold him. So, so we have to watch ourselves with money, because money is the root of all evil. It makes people do things that are ungodly, but it's not about the money. It's not, money isn't the root of evil. It's the love of money, because Judas, even though he had food, he had Jesus provided bread from heaven. Jesus, the living wood, the living word, the bread and the water, and he protected them. He was a good shepherd. But so don't sell your friends out, and don't sell your family out. You know, um, I have seen videos where they were asking couples to do things in front of the camera. Okay, a married couple. This is Hollywood, what it does. And that's like selling your soul to the devil, okay? If you do this, because a marriage is supposed to be between two people, okay? And so you have to even watch your friends around you. And when they're trying to get you to do stuff that is leading you down a path to destroy, it could destroy your whole, one time, one moment can destroy your whole entire relationship. Once the trust is broken, it's almost impossible to get back. But that's why I had to cut people out of my life, because even though somebody was, even though I was doing the right thing, they were trying to retaliate against me and take up somebody's side that was guilty, and they knew the truth, but they just, people are evil, okay? This could be your own family that comes against you. So I know, I've gone through it. And as I was thinking, the message yesterday, it's Judas. We have to look to see if somebody in our life is like Judas, and know that, I don't know, it's not always easy to see, but if somebody really shows you their character one, two times, and they're full of hatred, and they're constantly talking behind people's backs, and they're full of anger, and they're always plotting something. You can see stuff when they're scheming and plotting. Even if they're at a job, they're always figuring out how to be corrupted with people, okay? These are like Judas. It's the character. And what's in a man's heart flows through the mouth. What is inside flows through the mouth. So yes, sometimes I have a bad day. I try not to get in front of the camera if I'm really just not in a good mood. I really try not to. But even if I'm going through sorrowful times, I'm going to share. Sometimes I have to just take a break. But just know that what comes out of a person's mouth continuously is really truly what's in the heart. So watch, because you don't want to fall into that either. Because even like stuff we watch, some of it could be so corrupted and ungodly. That's people, it numbs the mind. Like, I tried to watch a movie, Scarface, okay? That movie, from the first 5 minutes, is torturous, okay? It's gruesome, grotesque, I don't know, it was disgusting. Some people love this stuff, but it was terrifying. Because if you look at the first 5 minutes, it's a murder scene, okay? And this is how some life people live their lifestyle. So I will still steer clear from that. I've lived next to people that were involved in, I never witnessed anything, but I didn't have relationships with them, because it's just, that was their lifestyle. So it's like walking in a lion's den. You have to still be careful. Even as a following Jesus, we still have to be wise. So when God shows you something, ask him to pull the covers off. And even we have to check ourselves. Are we trying to sell our own family out, or friends, because we're trying to look popular or something? Or we think we're better than people? Always try to offer advice to people, and not everybody knows how to keep your business between them, and it's everybody's business. They go get on the phone and tell this person, they get on the phone and that person. Even in my family, I don't tell everybody everything, because they sit there in a place of judgment rather than a place of really going to their life and saying, hey, I've gone through this. So there's a couple people in my family that I talk to, and there's people in my family, even though they're my family, we're not that close. So, but that's why I don't have a ton of friends. It's because I've been betrayed, and I had people stab me in the back, and people were doing stuff because they were so close to me. I didn't see what they were doing, and at the time I didn't really realize it, but after the fact I'm like, they could have freaking got me in a lot of freaking trouble. Like, they didn't care because they're selfish. So that's the thing, is like, when people don't really care to destroy you, that's not a good friend. you know Please put me in timeout. How are you, dude? Sorry if you said hi, but I'm gonna get off of here. It's been 26 minutes and it's almost time, but tell me what you think. It's like, if you have a high, let's say you're a judge or something, and that's why you have to be careful who your friends are, because if they're sitting in the courtroom with you and you have to judge them, you're gonna have, I don't think you can, but the thing is some people have these relationships so they have a hand over you, and so that you're kind of blinded because they're your friend. You know what I'm saying? That's why even like, if we're a pastor, you still have to bring the message, whether it offends people or not, because the gospel, that's the only way it helps people, heals people. If the word of God is not preached, there's no healing in that church. It's basically just a motivational speech. So the gospel has to be preached. Well, each church is different, but if I go to a church, I'm still hungry after that service if the word of God is not preached. So, when people are so close to the pastor, a lot of times the pastor doesn't want to bring that word that person is going through, because they don't want to offend them. But God is not for that. God wants everybody, whether you speak the truth, like my real friends, they're going to tell me if my outfit looks terrible or something, if I'm revealing too much. But somebody that really didn't care, they're not going to be honest with you. They're not going to tell you the truth. They're not really going to care. So just the character of Judas. So he was sitting with Jesus the whole time, and Jesus knew. Sometimes we know, like, once you see that, you don't have to feel bad. I know it's hard, because naturally we want these relationships to continue, but if somebody is trying to sell you or try to destroy your life, that's not a friend. It's not. And to talk behind your back and take something that you said between you and them, and then take it and run all over the place with it, like, no, you're not my friend. You're an acquaintance, okay, but you're not my friend, my inner friend. You know what I'm saying? It says, I would like to forget all lonely parts of my past. I don't know why this got deleted. Anyways, so Judas, that's why a lot of people in my life, I had to, that's why God either removed them from my life, or I had to cut ties, because they just weren't healthy for me, because they had no interest in my, it's not that they weren't honest. Number one, I need somebody who's going to be honest with me, whether it offends me or not. I need somebody to be honest, because I want to know the truth. So that's the thing, you have to vet people, and when they're corrupted in the mind and talking, always scheming how to do this to get away with this and that, I don't want any part of that, because they're going to do it to you too, okay? They just are. This is how some people live, and I don't want no part of that. Hey, Richard, how are you? Look at this beautiful site. Isn't that beautiful? ministry. Well, guys. I don't know if you ever had to, I'm sure some people have to cut people off, but, so just, we have to be honest with each other, even when we may think it offends people, not offends people, not in a way to hurt them, but really be honest with people. If you know something about the person that they're hanging out with and they're not what they really truly say they are, at least let them know. But when God reveals stuff to us, but like I said, some people I had to cut out of my life basically because they just were like Judas, and it's terrible. I don't know. Anyways, that's probably all I want to say. But Judas was sitting with Jesus. He was one of the 12 disciples. But I can't believe I've been on here 30 minutes. All right, this is the last message for the week. All right, if you can, comment any way you have seen, what you look for or whatever, and share and like. But like if you're in a high position, you have to watch the people that are around you, because they might just be there because they have ulterior motives basically, and they're trying to have a hand over how you function, and that can't be the way. You have to show non-partiality. Yes, we love people, but if it hinders your way to do your career or that, then you need to make decisions. I can't tell you what to do, but you know what I'm saying. Okay? All right, guys. Well, God bless you, and I hope you have a wonderful day. This is blessings, nice weather. We got snow, very cold. Send some snow. No, I don't want no snow. It's so beautiful here, though, really. It's like a wheat field, guys. God bless you. And comment, like, share, subscribe. Hype me up if you can. Yay. All right, I'll see you again, guys, okay? Bye. Thank you for coming in. Richard, Outlaw, the other guy. Peace.